Aissatou Smile Cissé, within a U building for Kankoba a press conference with the Ministry of Information and Communication being called every Thursday. This is not the program Talk to the Camera, and we will go inside the conference hall now, inside the conference will take place.
Postal services in the country. So permit me now to call Mr. Brian McCarter, who is the Managing Director for Post, to brief us about their achievements, challenges thus far for the past 1 year in the area of Post. You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Permanent Secretary, members of the Postal Estate, colleagues of the Ministry of Information and Communication, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and welcome to this press conference. As the moderator said earlier on, my name is Brian McCarter, current Managing Director for Leone Postal Services, Southwest Limited. I've been in the job for coming 8 months now, and since I took up office, it's not that I've been media shy, but I've been busy trying to understand what it really entails in the organization. Both things are actually happening internally and what's happening outside of the organization, and to try and make sense of it all and how to put a comprehensive strategy together with the support of the ministry, the NCP and other stakeholders, and moving the organization from where it is currently. So most of what I'm going to be talking about, the Permanent Secretary was able to throw some light on them. Leone Postal Services has old as probably 170 plus years. It was established in the 1800s and it's still going. Yes, albeit there are some challenges, but let me start by making one fundamental thing clear here. So there's a fundamental difference between the post office and the other operators, the DHLs, the TNTs, the FedEx, etc. So the post office, under what the Permanent Secretary mentioned earlier, the UPU, which is the Universal Postal Union, has a mandate of making sure it's an obligation under the United Nations Charter of Human Rights that every human being, it's its right to have access to mail delivered, no matter where they are in the world, at affordable cost. Yeah, let's underline that, it's very critical. So with that universal mandate, it is incumbent on the government or nation states to make sure their national postal operators actually thrive. Otherwise, they will not be able to fulfill those mandates, mandates. For instance, there's no way DHL are going to come in here and deliver mail to my grandmother in Bamakoya at affordable cost. They'll do that at a price, at a profit. So the government really needs to come in and help facilitate that so the post can actually fulfill that mandate. Now, over the years, through, I don't know, you don't want to start by pointing fingers, but then we have a new administration here. Whatever has actually happened in the past, I am here now to say, okay, let's draw a line in the sand. Yeah, it's a new era, and let's try and forge ways forward to revive this institution, this wonderful institution, and make it. Yeah, so I was saying, it's what we're here to do now. Really, is to try and find ways of bringing this back to the heart of government and to try and support government in some of its social responsibilities across the world. And why do you think it's the post office and not the DHL can do it? Because the post is the single biggest institution that has a footprint all over the country. Yeah, in all 4 regions, across the 14 districts, everywhere you go, there are postal operation. So today I'm trying to actually call out the challenges that we have currently. And after we've actually highlighted the challenges, then I guess you've telling us what the problem is, what are you going to do about it? And I'll talk to that in my presentation. What am I going to do about it? I will form my strategic plan over the next 5 to 6 years to try and see how we can address some of these challenges. And then the other part of my presentation will be once we've actually spoken about challenges, and then we can talk about the outlook. You bring all these strategies, what's the intended purpose of it, and we can talk to that. And then I'm going to actually talk about who do I need to bring in for me to succeed in this journey. We'll talk about key stakeholders and their responsibilities. And then obviously we'll map out the process, how we'll go about it. And then the final part is the approach. How do you do? What are you going to do first, second, third, and fourth? And then after that, we'll open the for questions and answers. Because I'm sure I've never been in front of the media before eager to ask questions about the institution. So I'm quite happy to answer your questions on today. So I'll just go back to, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit of the presentation. So on current challenges, as you can see there, it's fairly obvious with South Post, lack of adequate operational investment funds. So over the years, I have a document in front of me here, and luckily the permanent secretary was at that forum. This is our resolution signed 5 years ago at ministerial level, African Union. It's a resolution which was, the permanent secretary was saying earlier, ministers and heads of states actually agreed to bring back, make the post a Postal and National Development Plan under the Millennium Goals Sustainable Development. So this resolution was signed by all member countries present. We signed it, only for me to come when I asked. I could not even, the Syrian Postal Service was only even part of the National Development Plan. So in terms of implementation, there's nothing. But again, that's in the past. Luckily, the permanent secretary was there. He's got access to this information, this resolution. The minister has this resolution now. So it's for us to try and see how we can actually implement some of these. We talked about public confidence and perception. So when people hear of South Post today, the thief things are put so many things in the rich, some of it is through over the years, but some of it is really lack of adequate the right technology. When you talk about track and trace, you talk about the transport infrastructure in our country, it hinders this delivery time and process. For instance, today we don't have any direct flight from here to Europe. I can give you a typical example. You put a letter in the post here to Liberia today, it will have to go through Europe, Brussels, come back to Africa before it goes to Liberia. So this is where we need to partner with our organization, the Ministry of Transport and Communication. If we have a direct line within the African Union, at African level, regional level, they're talking about cross-border commerce and how we can actually facilitate our delivery service amongst nation states. It has its own challenges, and then we're discussing it at WACO, Pan-African Postal Union level, so that's all in the pipeline. Lack of skilled human resources to effect any potential changes. These are internal stuff I have to deal with. The average age of postal employee now is probably 40, 60. Some you can train, some you'll have challenges in even training them. So, and I'll talk to that a little bit later. For post office to move from where we are and go today, we need to go digital. And if you go in digital, then some of the current staff actually have to be brought in line with that. So there are challenges there, but some of these are internal, they're not insurmountable. We can deal with those. Dilapidated and inefficient structure. 10 years of civil war left most of our structures in total ruin. But they're there, the physical structure may be actually dilapidated, But if we can actually inject some cash into those, we can refurbish those and bring them up to speed. Background to transport infrastructure, I've already mentioned that. Lack of adequate technology. So the world is going digital, everything is going digital, and we're still stuck in analog. That is a recipe for self-elimination. So those are some of the challenges. The lack of cooperation between stakeholders within government and between Southpost and commercial. This is really when I came back, park Southpost for a moment. What I've really observed at even national level, the whole ecosystem is institutions are not talking to one another. People they're operating in silos. You know, where they need to collaborate, people are doing things on their own. And collaboration actually, what it actually does for you, it reduces probably investment cost, where you need to actually invest in this technology and partner with some other agency or organization and share the cost. And then you get a lot of savings with that. And if we're not doing that, we're duplicating efforts. So it's really important to actually for us to engage what somebody else is actually doing. For instance, and I'll talk to that later, I came here, I was trying to actually bring up a digital addressing, a national postal system, and I was wondering, what is the Freetown municipality doing about it? Because they actually need to make sure they distribute their property rates and all of that. I need that for courier services. Who is doing it? Through discussion with various, I realized they are working on the same project, DSCI are working on the same project, and I'm working on the same project. So in order for me to actually lay out a whole lot of costs to bring it on, I can liaise with those institutions and we'll bring it, the synergy there. And inadequate diversification of customer services. So that is really the basis of my strategy, and that's what I'm really talking about. The other thing that I think if I don't mention that, I'll probably get shocked when I go back to my office is staff welfare. Staff welfare, current staff, and retired staff.
But let me invite our Deputy Minister to tell us exactly what she went to do in Addis regards communication and information in the country. And after that, we take your questions and the answer session. Welcome, Madam Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. So the last week I was in Addis Ababa to attend Innovation Africa Digital Summit 2019. So this is a summit that happens every year, and this year's session was held in Addis. So countries around the world, came together, represented highly, and with a key focus to look at the ICT agenda of the various nations. I mean, how the countries that participated in the conference has been able to achieve, their ICT agenda. As you may know, as journalists, in Sierra Leone we have 25% internet penetration across the country. We also have 65% voice penetration rate across the country, and there are various factors that contribute to the status quo. So we, as a government, of course, have put measures in place to make sure that we have more, ICT proficient people in the country. So this conference was basically to meet with other partners and discuss, the acceleration of the national agenda of the various countries. So I had an opportunity to be part of a panel to talk about, the progress that we have made as a country. And as you know, President Bio is very committed to this whole issue of ICT, which is why we have at State House, the Directorate of Science, um, Technology and Innovation led by Dr. Senge. And also as a ministry, we are also working, towards reviewing some of the policies that will benefit these all important sectors. So basically, that was the focus of the conference, and it was very exciting, to be part of that particular program, because at the end of the day, we had people who actually showed interest in partnering with us, in the areas that we need support, in the areas that we need help. We have a lot of people who have shown interest to come out here in Sierra Leone and try to join hands with us so that we can achieve our ICT objective at the end of the day. So if you have questions, more direct questions, I'll be more than willing to answer them. But I just want to, you know, uh, treat you basically to what exactly happened in Addis. So it's a very good conference. It was my very first international assignment since I joined the team here at the ministry, and I think it was very good for me to be a part of that particular program because I came back home with a lot of ideas. Of course, we have a lot of interactions, and we're looking forward to more collaborations so that we can make this whole ICT program that the president is so very much interested in, worth the while at the end of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I will be waiting for questions in case you have them for me. Thank you.
And as we talk about the way forward during the conference, you make mention of $2.1 million. We want to know within this money.
So, like I said earlier, it's going to say to probably your colleague, the 2.1 million now we call under the deficit of working capital. So the money down the way I want to invest in maybe from there we actually run the operations, cover the run rate over the five. That money, don't forget, now over 5-6 year period. So not a year one. In year one, you will need a chunk of that, probably at least $750,000. So that one will be stuff. As they go up the years, don't forget you also generate revenue. That revenue will be cool from some of the authority costs.
And for do this what we would try to talk about. So I want to know that the stakeholders and where you will meet for push this work with.
So like I said, in my presentation, the Ministry of Information and Communication, NCP, we will need Ministry of Finance, we will need telcos, telecommunication operators, we will need SouthCab, NatCom, especially for connectivity, all the postal areas, and otherwise this whole thing will work. And then the one that we will want collaborate and partner with and help them with some of their services. So you're talking about the immigration office, you're talking about road safety authority, you're talking about NACIT, you're talking about NRA, etc. All of it people already provide government services.
So how long this gets for take for making you accomplish this?
Well, it depends really on the when. So my plan, I set up my plan in February 2015. If I don't consider my plan is already 6 months behind. So it really depends on when we stakeholders all agree we approve this plan, then we'll put the right investment in. The plan is actually set for up to 2025.
What think will be the expectations?
People, when you say the public?
The public.
So the public is they tell you say within the period of this plan, let's say 2 to 3 years, you can want people to be able to walk into any post office and get all of these services well online. It's actually there to be provided for them. So really not that. And let me go ahead assure public say, yes, the issues on there in the past with credibility, bad press, but these are all things in the past. For instance, if we bring back the confidence and the right investment in the post office, DHLs, these are good guys. They come, but I will tell you, say, for an A4 size paper, only which is $100 post office cable, send a 3 EMS for more less than half the price, for 35,000. So in the end, the public will therefore decide really. We also don't bring efficiency, trust, and confidence, reliability. What you will offer, it will speak for himself. It will actually come out. Obviously, the message get for go out, the public relations get for go out. The people will see tangible evidence of developments or the strides that will actually take towards bringing the good name back into the institution. So I'm very, very confident with the right level of investments. It's happening in neighboring countries. So, that investment. Yeah.
Okay, to end this interview, I want to know written out the message we want to send out there to the public from like encouraging the people for me to get more trust and support.
Come back and support your local post office. And one and they will reliable, they affordable, and forget the negative things we get people that still we're ready for local institutions and we get plans of a move the institution moving forward. So the message really that I give people post office ready in the next couple of months and I will see tangible changes that will actually happen for maybe bring that confidence. We remain the reason why government need for really step in and support postal operation. You know, we will sell post office nowhere in the world. It never happened. In England, they tried it, but because of this universal obligation, where the state say it's a universal postal union, when a subsidiary agency of United Nations on a human rights, everybody in the world, and no matter what side you get rights for mail delivery at affordable cost. DHL and others are not going to be able to do that. And the cities are not going to be able to do that. So, which is why, for me, for make a meet that universal obligation, then the government need to actually subsidize. Otherwise, it won't work.
Okay, thank you.